I'm Rock Reuben. I'm one of the writers and executive producers. I come with Kevin from King of Queens. I worked on that show for 9 years. So we sort of, we had a King of Queens ended, and I think the show became more popular when it went into syndication than it may have even been when it was on the air. And so many people's, why did you stop? Why did you stop? Because Kevin built this brand, this character of the everyman who's, kind of struggling to get little victories in life. So when we sat down to come up with a show, we thought, how could we build on sort of that existing guy and take him to the next level and give him kids, which he didn't have on the show, and put him in new and fresh situations. So that was sort of the idea behind the show, is like, how do we take Doug Heffernan 2.0 and lift it to the next level? So that was where it all began. We feel, we've had a lot of people that worked on King of Queens watch the show and goes, it feels like King of Queens, but yet completely different. So that was sort of our mission, and we feel like, okay, that's cool. This is for those people that liked what Kevin did on the show and want to see more but different. I think we've accomplished that. It's going to have a little edge to it, in a way that is still family friendly. It's not a kid show, but yet if your kid's in the room, you don't have to be horrified at what he's seeing. So many shows, I have kids and I'm watching my favorite shows and I'm with the sexual innuendo and even the news. Yeah, I'm pausing it, like, go away. I want it to be where everybody could be there and have fun and laugh together as a family. There's not a lot of options like that. So by design, we've kind of said, let's agree that we're going to keep it at that tone level where we don't have to be embarrassed of who's in the room and worry about, having to have conversations about issues with our kids. Well, the reason we did that was there's a thing going on in society that we need to address. We don't want to have those conversations. So that's a design. The pilot is the beginning of Kevin's retirement. He's worked for 20 years, and he has this dream that is so crystal clear that he and his friends, who all went to the academy together, it's our time. Nothing's getting in the way. And of course, like all plans, you make these arrangements and you have all the visions, and then it comes to be, and you have to make changes. Problems come up. It's never exactly what you want. So the series and what's set up in the pilot is Kevin's struggle to live that retirement dream, but yet deal with all these obstacles that are trying to upend it. And in Kevin James fashion, grasping at things desperately to keep his dream alive. I think it's the ensemble. We have such a great cast. Erin Hayes plays the wife, and she's great with Kevin. She can stand toe to toe with him, and always has that little slightly smarter feel to her and a little bit more in charge. And the kids are really wonderful. And we have the oldest daughter is 20 years old, and we will learn that she has a boyfriend or fiance. I don't know what we want to say about that, but he's Ryan Cartwright. I don't know if you've interviewed. Ryan's from England. And he is, when we thought about this character, who could we put on a couch with Kevin James that before they say a word to each other, we're already laughing? And Ryan is just, he's such a funny guy. And so we nailed, I think that relationship is going to be so rich, with Kevin being home every day with this kid who's working on this app, and them having to form a bond of some sort, and learn to live with each other and maybe even become friends and go on journeys together. It's an unlikely coupling. So that's a lot of fun. His buddies are all these authentic New York cop types who are, they're sort of doing jackass stunts. They've been cops for 20 years. They followed the rules. Their collars were tight. Their faces were clean shaven. And now it's let's go wild. So those activities will be a lot of fun. So I think what's great about it is some shows you have a very narrow premise and you kind of, how are we going to keep the stories going? We can go with the friends. We can go with Kevin having to get part-time jobs. We can go with Chael, his son-in-law to be. We have the kids' stories and them navigating age changes and those transitions. And then a husband and wife who, it's been 20 years, life's taken over, and maybe not the spark, but it's just not what it was. And how do we find our time amidst this chaos to keep to keep our love strong and fresh. No, he's got just, if you've been around Long Island or you met like blue collar guys, he really is that way. He's a lovable guy. He's got a heart of gold. He would literally give you the shirt off his back in real life, and he brings that to the stage. And I just think people really like what he has to say, and he says it in a way that people relate to, that is truthful and not put on. He's a real deal. He's a good dude, and you want to hang out with him, and you believe when he gets frustrated that, yeah, I get frustrated too. I did stand-up comedy for many years, and Kevin and I would do these theater tours, and it was amazing how many couples would come up after King of Queens and go, I'm Doug and she's Carrie. Like that relationship was their relationship. And so that's what we're hoping here with Kevin and Erin and their characters. Like, people just go, yeah, we have kids. That's our life. That is our life. Just trying to get through a day and the struggles we go through. So Kevin is the perfect vessel for that. Well, Kevin's physical comedy and his facial expressions and the things he does with his body are so unique that he's been, through his movies, able to build up a really substantial following internationally. I know King of Queens at one point was a very highly rated show in Germany. His movies do well there. He does well in Spain, Austria, Australia, all these countries. He has an audience, so we're super excited about that, to bring that to the table in addition to the big following he has here in the States. So it's going to be a show that you don't have to be here. There's no internal lingo that you have to get to. It's universal, and that's what's exciting about it. It's 4-quadrant family universal type show that will play in Germany or in California or in Iowa. We have Kevin has a lot of friends. Bruce has. We all have friends, and without putting anybody on the spot, phone calls will be made, and a lot of Kevin's movie buddies have already said, "Say the word, I'm there." So, that will be coming into the show for sure. Yeah. Season 1 is, Kevin had the dream. We'll see it blow up in the pilot, and it's, as we develop our audience, it's trying to figure out what the new structure is of his life. I knew what my life was from 25 to 45. I knew exactly what it was. And I thought I knew what it was going to be for the next 20 years, but it's not. So who am I? What do I do? I'm 45 years old. I don't have a career anymore. I had power. I was a police officer. I was respected. That's gone. How does that affect me? And how do the idea that I'm no longer able to live the dream I wanted, that I have to answer to my wife, my kids, they need me. So it's finding his place. And one of the things that we talked about, if I may digress, when we were in movie production, we'd be working really long hours, and then the movie would end, and Kevin and I would go home, and the expectation was that our wives and our children would be like, "Daddy's home!" And it was the opposite. It was like, we got our routines, dude. You're messing what we do up. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? Yeah, I got ice skating, and the kids are going places, and I'm at home going, wait a minute, what happened here? And there's an element to that here too. It's that he does need to spend more time with his kids, but they have sports, and they have this, and they have that, and he's home during the day. What do I do? Where's my place? And his friends will start to have their issues with their families. So there's going to be these times where he's got looking around for what's next, and then in walks his son-in-law, his polar opposite, and it's like, you want to play? You want to play with me? So I think that's the beginning arc. And then we have his daughter, who's sort of his favorite, who is with a guy who he feels is maybe not worthy of her, and having to accept that his daughter is not his little baby girl anymore, that she's a woman. And how does he reconcile that? And how does he reconcile things with his wife, where there's elements, the passion and the romance might not be where she hoped it would be, and she's probably thinking, he's home now, date nights back on, all these things, and okay, well, how do I make that all work? So it's a lot of that type of jockeying for what is the structure of his life. Oh boy, there's a bunch of very funny things. I don't want to give away what happened. The go-kart sequence, which we filmed yesterday, is really, really funny, and it's not like anything you'd see in a sitcom. It's more of a movie set piece. So that was a lot of fun to shoot, very ambitious, and our director, Andy Fickman, just crushed it, and Kevin was great, and it involved his friends. So that was a favorite moment. I love there's a moment when they're looking at a tenant for their. Let me strike that. I don't want to give that away. I love the gyro bowl scene. You know, Bruce had mentioned that he had the gyro bowl, and watching Kevin and Erin in the kitchen, or Donna, the character of Donna, having fun together. It lets us fight and have arguments and stuff, but the core of these two people is two people that love each other. So that scene, to me, it's just so fun to see. And now we can go get real, but come back to a couple that loves each other. So that's one of my favorite moments. And then there's a lot of funny jokes. I don't know what jokes will stay in, so I don't want to quote specific ones, but there's a moment when he and Donna are interviewing a tenant to move in, and the guy turns out to be a very dark alcoholic type character, and Kevin is still fighting to get this guy in the apartment, and Donna looks to Kevin like, "Are you serious?" And he was avoiding her glare, and he puts on his reading glasses, pretending not to see her, and looking over the application. It's just a funny moment between the two of them.